I'd like to invite to take the stage is someone who I think we are extremely privileged to be welcoming. Jawad Ahmad is a successful pop star, and he's also a socialist activist. He is renowned in Pakistan for both his songs and his politics, and he has travelled all the way to Britain to be here tonight. Jawad has a record of solidarity with the working class, the poor and the oppressed. And recently he took the initiative of launching the International Youth and Workers Movement, or IYWM. And the IYWM aims to build a mass movement involving students, workers, young people and peasants in Pakistan, and has recently launched in the UK, both to help build solidarity with what's going on back in Pakistan and to help organise to fight for the rights of workers and young people living in Britain. So please give an extremely warm welcome to Jawad Ahmad.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In fact, my family told me not to read the paper tonight. But I guess you don't have to do always what they say. So actually, I've been given this courage because a lot of people here were reading the papers, So I would also do the same because it is more of a well-composed thought pattern that I can read out to you. Dear friends and comrades, my name is Jawad Ahmad and I'm a singer, musician and filmmaker from Pakistan and a socialist. I'm part of a political organization called International Youth and Workers Movement, which works with peasants, service and industry workers, students and youth. And I'm a member of its central committee. I became an egalitarian when I started reading my parents' books, who were both professors of political science. I started believing in human equality as I could see immense but different talents and abilities in all human beings, many of which sadly had no value in the market. I could see that people belonging to all parts of this world had similar basic needs, the fulfillment of which should have been the primary task of societies formed by humans. But I could see all around me that it was not happening. People all over this world were impoverished, unresourceful, and helpless in front of their governments, the ruling class, and the administrative and bureaucratic systems. I tried to find out the reasons for that and met all sorts of scholars and read all sorts of books. But it was after I started interacting with the working class that I found out the real truth, which was that until they were ready to organize themselves as a class, demand and struggle for their rights, and to rise and take over the world would not change. That was the time when on the question of political economy, I became a scientific socialist and started reading Marx, Engels, Lenin, Trotsky, and others. It was, you can clap, I will clap with you. It was the science of economy and the economic question, having both its social and political implications, that needed to be studied and addressed by peoples of this world to be able to create a world where people were emancipated from the shackles of economic slavery and were free to practice whatever faiths, talents, and abilities and fulfill whichever needs, interests, and aspirations they had. I'm very pleased to be here today in front of so many like-minded people, the revolutionaries from all over this world who are struggling for the cause of scientific socialism. This is a good time in Britain, as with Jeremy Corbyn having been elected as the head of Labour Party, we can actually look forward to the revival of active left politics in Britain. I know it is more of a great challenge to the youth and public of Britain than to Jeremy Corbyn himself. but I somehow feel that if the socialist organizations here, especially the CWI and Socialist Party, who have very kindly invited me here, intervene profoundly in this historical process of organizing and revolutionizing the working class, students and youth, we might see a socialist Britain soon emerge from the corpse of the redundant, unproductive, and non-progressive global capitalism. We are all living in such an unequal world right now where only 80 richest people own as much wealth as 3.5 billion people, or half its population, own. A planet where only 100 richest people with their annual income can end global poverty 4 times over. And still, this world is full of misery, human suffering, and calamity. Global capitalism has destroyed the fabric of humanity and is subjecting human beings all over this world to worst kind of economic slavery, a material as well as a psychological condition in which you are a slave, but you don't know that you are. It is not capable of providing basic needs to people. Forget about freedom, benefits, facilities, opportunity, and choice. It is not easy to work in a third world country of first-class people, where crony capitalism is working at its best. The semi-feudal, semi-capitalist society with tribal pockets still intact in a lot of places, and where majority of the people are ignorant about what left-wing politics is, it is quite a challenge to build working-class movements there. In 1970s and 80s, the left politics and the leftists were very systematically crushed by the power of the state of Pakistan. Many of the left-wing activists, intellectuals, and politicians fled from Pakistan, and the rest who chose to be there also opted to become silent. Most of them became reformists and either started running NGOs or working with the corporate, social, and public-private sector. Politicians cannot just think ahead of themselves and are disillusioning the youth and masses with the superficial and intellectually shallow gimmicks and political tricks. They use, which is not very common here actually, they use, rather misuse religion and other cultural and social influences of an economically backward country to their advantage. Pakistan is a highly polarized society with a very poor working class, divided on the issues of religion, sectarianism, caste, ethnicity, language, and race. The state and condition of the working class is in shambles, and people are forced to work in fields, factories, shops, offices, and roads, sometimes in 6,000 rupees per month only, which is equivalent to 38 pounds a month. The minimum wage there is merely 82 and 94 pounds, which is actually announced by the governments per month. Can you even imagine how would you live in such an amount with your family and children? Well, they don't have to imagine, as they are actually living it. There are almost no trade unions there, except in a few industries of public and private sector, and only less than 1% of the total workforce is unionized. Pakistan is a very important country in terms of its geopolitical position and its history. The 6th most populated country of the world. One of the top 10 atomic powers of the world, and rich in almost all sorts of natural resources. It has been a battleground for the imperialist powers for decades. The turmoil-stricken country has had the worst anti-people civil and military governments running its affairs. Just like any other third world country, it has no national progressive bourgeoisie who can complete the historical social democratic tasks of building infrastructure and ensuring health, education, and social security to the people. The feudals, tribal lords, turned crony capitalists are utterly irrelevant to the wants of the society and to the natural and progressive growth of capitalism, which at least took place in advanced countries of the world, including Britain. But still I see only promise, hope, and struggle in its resilient people who have quite a few times surprised the ruling class there with their revolutionary struggles. International Youth and Workers Movement is going to launch a campaign for universal registration of the workers in Pakistan and we will urge the government to register all sorts of independent, formal or non-formal workers, entitling them to the right of social security. For that, we will have to campaign against the exploitation of workers in the name of contract labor, which is being practiced by both national, multinational industries and companies, as well as almost all the government, social, public, and private sectors. It will be a huge campaign which will shake the whole economic structure of the society. Let's hope so. And ensure the basic rights of the working class. I'm coming to the end now. International Youth Workers Movement is also working in Britain to build a fight against austerity, cuts, inequality, and racism. Anyone who intends to join us in this struggle can contact Uthaya Sanan of CWI. We are conducting a session on that tomorrow, Sunday the 8th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Institute of Education, Bedford Way. We'll be pleased if you can join us there. Socialism is life, as it ensures and guarantees livelihood, well-being, prosperity, and freedom to every man, woman, and child. It is the only answer to global menaces like ongoing destruction of environment, overproduction, arms race, and population explosion. And to all of us now who want to change this world on principles of human equality and equitable distribution of wealth and resources, in the words of Shakespeare, to be or not to be, a socialist is the question. Our collective, affirmative answer to this question will create, form, and shape up the new, free, and full world. Otherwise, only barbarism will prevail on the planet Earth, which continues to this day. I not only hope, but believe that humanity's answer in the nearest future will be yes to this now existential question of humanity and to socialism. Thank you.